Hello Materos and welcome. Today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about something we were discussing on one of the forums, and I thought maybe I'll just go ahead and put this on the video because sometimes it's best explained that way and you can see things a little better. Makes it a little more clear. So I was going to talk to you a little bit about bombillas, and I'll give you my own opinion of things. So it's nothing in stone, this is just my opinion from my experience. And so let me go on. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the bombillas, and I've got a couple of different bombillas here. So I'm going to take it out of my gourd here, and the Quia is another one. And you can see they're totally different, and the shape of these actually play a key role in drinking your yerba mate, and that's just something you have to decide on. I can talk to you real quickly, briefly about material. It's made in a lot of different materials. These two here are actually stainless steel. I usually prefer stainless steel, but that's totally up to the person drinking the yerba mate and what they want out of it. Because if you go with a different type of material other than stainless steel, you'll find that you can find some really beautiful, amazing looking bombillas, because they use like a German silver steel. It's much softer, so they can do some really intricate designs with that, as opposed to stainless steel, which is a much harder metal, and you can add things on the outside of it, but it's pretty hard. It's not as pliable as like German silver steel. So that's just one thing. And I do like, as for myself, I like stainless steel because it doesn't break down at all, so you don't have to worry about some of the metal breaking down and you drinking it, which can't be too good for you. But on the other side, if you did not go with stainless steel and you went with a softer metal, the trick is just not to let it break down on you. Before it starts to break down, or you start to see it breaking down, just go ahead and don't use it anymore. Get yourself a different bombilla. But just for myself, like I said, my own opinion, I stick with stainless steel because I just like to use, I kind of get attached to my bombillas. I like to keep using them over and over. I have a couple of older non-stainless steel ones, and I don't use them anymore, and they are quite beautiful, and they get a really beautiful patina on it, which is also a plus that you just can't seem to get with the stainless steel. You might get a little different coloring from where you drink it from, but nothing really as cool as the patina you get from like a German silver bombilla. But like I said, you shouldn't really use it once it's broken down, in my opinion, because then you're sucking up some metals. So again, they sit there and they look pretty and they're in my collection, but I don't use them. So getting back to the stainless steel, like I said, that's the one I do prefer. And now I'll show you, you do have different shapes here, and they all play a key role depending on what you want from your yerba mate. Like this one is very fine holed. You can see on both sides, it has tiny holes and it's small on both sides. And this one has some large slits, big openings, not too many openings, as opposed to all the holes there. And you can see the air through it, so it's a pretty big opening. So this one is great for any fine yerba mate. You can use it on any yerba mate, whether it's fine or coarse. But if you have a fine yerba mate, you know, it's ground very fine or cut very fine, or a lot of powder, or if you have like a chimahao or something, you definitely want to use this type of a bombilla. That way you don't suck up, it filters out all the finer particles so you don't suck them up and be drinking it, and it might make you cough a little bit because you get up some of that powder. So this one will prevent that. If you're using something like this on a chimahao, you're going to really suck up a lot of powder, and it's probably not going to taste too great. So you don't want to use something like that. There's also quite a difference in the force of your draw, or the suction, and I'll get over into that also, because if you had something like this on a chimahao, when you suck on it, you're going to be sucking pretty fast and hard, and most likely it'll get plugged up because of everything coming at one time to these little slits, as opposed to this being spread out. And when you draw on something like this, it's going to be a lighter draw. So let me get into that real quick, and how it affects the flavor profile of your yerba mate. Okay, when you get into it and you look at this bombilla, you can see it has a bulb that's really spread out, and spread out like that, and as opposed to this one where it's not spread out at all. So you have a spread out bombilla bulb, and with lots of holes on it. And then if you look at the stem, you can see that it's pretty flat. It's been smashed down a little bit, if you can pick that up. So it's very narrow. And what that does altogether, the holes here are giving you a different flavor profile, because what's going on is, let me show you this real quick. If I take my gourd and I set it there. Now if you have your gourd and you're going to have your mountain set up in your yerba mate mountain, you're going to have it, like there's going to be a mountain going diagonal like that, right? And then you're going to take your bombilla and insert it into your gourd, and then once you get down to the bottom, you're going to be pushing it into your mountain. So in other words, yerba mate is going to be totally packed all around this bulb on your bombilla. And now when you go to suck on your bombilla and draw up some yerba mate, it's sucking against a variety of leaves, because this is spread out. So it's picking up a lot of area of leaves that are packed up against this hole, these holes, and packed up against these holes. So when you draw that up, what you're drawing is a large flavor profile of a large area of yerba mate leaves. So, you know, when you look at yerba mate, you're going to see you have some palos, or you have some small cuts, some larger cuts. You have leaves that are darker, some that are lighter. So you're going to pick up a lot of that, all spread out. And then because this is so narrow, when you suck on it and you draw up your yerba mate, it's slowing everything down. It's not allowing you to suck really hard and fast. It's going to create a light suction here, and it's going to slow everything down as it comes up, and it's just breaking up all the flavor profiles. So when it comes out to your palate, you're going to taste a difference. It's going to be more of a lighter flavor, and you're going to pick up a lot of different nuances, little flavor profiles that are in your yerba mate. Now that's using this one. Now if you were to go to this one, you see it has a large holes, large slits on each side, and it's not spread out. So when you stick this directly into the mountain and the leaves are all packed around it, when you suck on this one, you're not picking up a large area as opposed to that one. You're just picking up the area of leaves that are against this slit and that slit, and whatever can try to work its way through. But you're picking up directly the leaves that are packed up against that. So your flavor profile is going to be a little different, because you're not going to quite pick up all the nuances as you would with this one being spread out. So also, these holes are big, and this tube is not compressed or flattened, so it's large. So when you suck, you're going to suck a strong suction directly against those leaves, so it's going to give you a more robust, strong flavor. You're not going to quite pick up all the nuances with this one, but it will be a stronger, more robust type of flavor, because you're sucking right up against some limited leaves, but you're sucking very strong and very hard with big holes coming right up. So that's what causes the differences in your flavor profile. And each one plays a key role. Like if you have a weak yerba mate and you think it just doesn't taste too strong and you wish it were a little stronger, then use a bombilla like this, and that'll help increase the strength of it and give you a more robust flavor. Now if you have one that's the other way and you think it's just tastes so strong, it's too bitter or too this or that, then I recommend trying a bombilla like this. And that will soften it a little bit, and it'll bring out some different nuances in the flavor, and it'll taste quite different. So this is just a whole nother tool in the arsenal with yerba mate. Besides your brewing time or your brewing temperature of your water, but all these type of techniques you use make a difference, besides the yerba mate itself. I mean, its cut can make a big difference, of course, or if it has palos or no palos, whether it'll be sweet or not, or the age of the yerba mate, or if it's been heated at all or smoked. All those things make a difference, but when it comes down to the bombilla, it also can make a difference. So it's just something to know if you're new into yerba mate. You know, people always say, what's the best bombilla to get, or blah, blah, you know. It really is up to you. And as you're drinking different yerba mates, you're going to see that some bombillas taste better with other yerba mates. So it's always good to have at least a couple of different styles, in my opinion, of a bombilla. So you can try that out and you can figure out what works best for you. And also, each bombilla it's like a tool in itself. Like this one here is really great for packing in your mountain. Once you have your mountain up, you know, you're kind of like into your gourd, and there it is. And you can pack it really tight. You can pack your mountain easily using this. It's just like a paddle. So it works really great for that. And it is pretty easy to shove into your mountain. You know, once you have it set, you kind of want to push up and shove it into the mountain so it's covered in yerba mate. So this is easy for that because of the shape of it. But this one has its own uses. This has a great scoop on it. You can see that. So like if you just bought a gourd and you want to go ahead and get it all prepped and seasoned, this is a great tool because this is good for scraping out all the pulp that's in your gourd. And also it comes in really handy for, to me, like if you're moving around a lot or driving, this gourd, this bombilla works pretty good because once you push it into the mountain, it has that scoop there and that flat part that really holds it pretty stable. You know, once it's back down in there inside the mountain's laying on top of this whole section. It keeps it from moving around. So it has its own little purpose besides the larger slits and giving different flavors and nuances. So I just thought I'd discuss that a little bit. Talk to you a little bit about the bombillas, just to let you know that each one does play its own little important role. And it's just a whole art, you know, drinking yerba mate. There is definitely an art to it that you just pick up more and more information as you go along. And I just thought I would share this, especially with some of the new yerba mate drinkers. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and salute.